We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold stories. Stories of men that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV as we delve proper into these stories we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery. Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Reality Lab Talk Show. This is Reality Lab TV and this is season 2 of the Reality Lab Talk Show titled Untold Stories. Stay glued. We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold stories. Stories of men that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV as we delve proper into these stories we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery. Welcome everybody, this is episode 2 of the Reality Lab Talk Show. Today we are having another guest in our midst who will be sharing profound truths about his story throughout life and how he has walked through the path of success thus far. He is an entrepreneur and I would say he is a businessman. Though we have been having controversies between the word entrepreneurs and businessman, I think he would share light on the dichotomy between these two words. Nevertheless, I want to welcome our very own guest today, who is nobody but Mr. William Kamara. Welcome to the show, sir.
Welcome, Brother Daniel Bangura.
Yeah, thank you very much. We are privileged to have you in our midst this episode.
I am also privileged to be part of this
All
show and what you're doing.
All right, thank you very much.
I'm grateful for your effort.
Thank you very much. So tonight we are going to be discussing about society versus reality. We are looking at this topic it's going to correspond with your story as a man since you are a young person up to where you have reached thus far. So I would first of all want to start with the topic. What can you say about society in reality? Some people hold the view that society is reality, while other people think that the norms of society have changed into not becoming the reality, into false norms that are affecting our society. But what do you think about this, society versus reality?
Society, as the word itself, we're not coming here for academics or complex things. We're making things so simple. Mm-hmm. And when you look at what is happening and what you call society and what is actually happening, there is a disparity between them. Society hardly changed but the realities do change.
Okay.
So this is one of the conflicts for the people that make up the society when they come to reality.
Okay.
So that is the reason why, first of all, people stuck up, because they don't understand the dynamics of the reality and the societies they find themselves.
Okay. So in general, you're trying to say realities change while societies, their norms and custom are just stagnant.
Yeah, and why reality is always the dominant in this thing is society norms, cultures were formed based on the realities. And as humans being evolved in a planet called Earth, we change, we are dynamics. That is how we are wired. And the society do not tend to change rapidly with regard to what is changing. So that is causing the major problem for the people around.
Okay.
That is why you're seeing some people are doing well, some people are not doing well.
Okay.
That is the reason.
Okay. So we want to go down to the path of your storyline. We want to start, today you're an entrepreneur, and we want to start from your background, your family. How was it? How was your life when you were just a boy from the age of 10 coming up? How was your academic life? How was your parents? How do they affect who you are today? Because they normally tell us that our parents are first teachers. How's your academic line been from primary school up to now? Can you tell us about your life?
Oh, I'm privileged.
Thank you.
To share this a bit because I'm a conservative person. My primary life, or my life as a child in general, if people get the full story, probably it will help them.
Yeah.
But I will share what is needed. First of all, as a child, my family plays a great role, especially my mom. And the excuse people are having is not correct. The excuse of saying, I am born in a poor family or average family, or my dad could not afford this, or my mom could not afford this, this on and this, that. So because of what is happening, I can't do anything. That mindset is completely wrong. I believe as a child, I have a responsibility. My parents too have their own responsibility.
Yeah.
It's a collective work between I and my parent. They do theirs and I do mine. And as a child, if I fail to execute my own responsibility, then anything that happens will not be cast on the blame to my parent. I will be held responsible. So the first thing I learned as a child is responsibility. What do I mean? If you are not responsible as an individual, no amount of background will make you a better person.
Okay.
That is to say, it is our parents' responsibility to send us to school. It is their responsibility to care for us when we can't at an early age. But it is our responsibility as children to obey our parents. It is also our responsibility as children to do what we're supposed to do. Today we are seeing parents flog kids for the right thing. The path of the parent into the child is they fail to do what they're supposed to do at a particular time. That is the reason why they end up flogging the children at an age they will expect them to behave and take responsibilities for themselves. I noticed that our programming, though you asked me about 10 years, but I learned that as a human being, our programming period is 0 to 7 years.
Okay.
I learned that.
So how did you know that? Was it applicable to you? Did you find yourself learning some things that age?
Yeah.
Okay.
It started as a child. I was so ambitious to make a difference. What gave me that ambition? I can say my parents played a role. The society played a bit of role. And as I grew up, the disparity between the realities and what I just said changes. And once I see the changes, I began to question things around me. Sorry, that questioning gave birth to what I am today.
Okay. So how was your schooling? How was your schooling? What were the institutions that you were schooled in? And how did they affect you? Were they societally recognized for producing people?
That is a very deep question you're asking. But I will give you the needed answers.
Okay.
First of all, in our community, I came from Moemba district,
Okay.
Rotifung to be precise, and to get it more in a simplified state, Moya, down the river.
Okay.
So I'm telling you all this for you to see that I don't believe the fact that if you are born in this place, you will not make it. It is only when you are born in a particular place that you will make it.
Okay.
I was born in a remote place that we don't have easy access to vehicles. If a vehicle wants to go there, it will take a long time and a lot of gas. And our means of transportation is local boats. We carve from timbers. My primary school is Bompe.
Okay. Where
It's
is
in
that?
Bompe. It's
The
a
same
UMC, yeah, UMC school.
Okay.
Moya and Walter Schut, the secondary school, Rotifung.
Okay.
And those places, the impact of the society there is we have a trace of our predecessors that they told us that they did great with education. And my mom held on to that value so much that if you are able to get educated, things will be fine for you. That was what she sold to me.
Okay.
As a child, I didn't understand.
So you bought that?
I bought the concept.
Okay.
So I was so curious to know, since she has explained to me that all you need to do is just get educated and everything will be fine for you. She sold that to me and I bought that. And from that perspective, I believe, and I started working relentlessly. As a child, the motivation grew up and I started teaching my colleagues right from primary school.
Oh.
As we speak, the wall I painted in one of our houses is still there.
At the village there?
At the village, it's still there. I started teaching right from primary school because I was so enthusiastic about education. I was passionate about education. So
you attended primary school and junior secondary school?
Junior secondary school.
So how about your higher education and
my senior secondary school is Sierra Leone Muslim Congress.
Oh, okay.
A school that many believe is
so this is what we're trying to say. You attending Congress and being an entrepreneur today is not a link. I would say it's not a linking verb. It's not linking. So the norms of society, what I've learned so far is that people that attend the Sierra Leone Muslim Congress are wayward, are people that can fight, are people that are, these bad boys. So how did you manage that societal norm into becoming who you are since then?
There we go again. I told you about I question things. And that is what the society thinks.
Okay. Was it your choice to attend the school?
The school?
Yes.
Sierra Leone Muslim Congress?
Yes.
And I didn't voted for the school.
Okay.
And I went there as a result of financial constraints.
Okay.
And when I went there, and I knew what I went there for.
Okay.
I heard about the things, the negative things they are doing. But when I went there, I was questioning every single thing I see around.
Okay.
And I began to unfold the realities of the school and the perception of the societies about the school. I'm not saying this because it's my school. Okay. There is this human tendency of degrading one to elevate yourself. When people are in rivalry or in competition, the easiest way they think they could do to get rid of the competitor is to emulate the opponent.
Yeah.
So by them doing that, they think they will get rid of.
So that is to say you hold on to the fact that it's not about the institution, but it's about the individual.
Yeah, so the institution does a lot of good. Congress is a good school. I'm not saying it because I went there. And when I went there, the teachers I saw and that were teaching me, I later realized that they were old boys of the school.
Okay.
So since the society has got its own perceptions about the school, and when you go there, it's different. The issue of saying Congress fighting, if you read history or you check history, it's not a continuous thing. Human beings misbehave because of certain things. And it is a normal thing worldwide that people that live in the East are wayward. It's a normal phenomenon globally. And those that are in the West are civilized, are well behaved. And but people buy to certain things that they have no understanding of.
Of course.
So I went to the school, I saw a different thing, and they were so serious. And I sat my was with all less privileges and no extra classes. I only have classes for school. I mean, the school is the only source of my education. I don't have money to pay for extra classes. And the school was so hardworking, and they try to make sure that we get what we paid for.
Okay.
So I sat to my was. By then my mom died, and people were telling me, don't sit, don't take the exam, because I was so close to my mom. And she died. I said, no, I will sit. And before I sit to that exam, I was using those materials that the school is teaching, using to teach me, or that the materials they gave me to teach other people in the community at Wellington.
Okay.
So, and I began to see, why are they saying that Congress is this kind of school, and they are giving me things that I'm using to teach other people from schools they think are better off than Congress. So, okay, so I took the exams and I got 7 credits, 2 passes, only from the school. And my family, some family members have their own perceptions about Congress. Okay. Congress is a rebel school, to be precise. Congress is this, Congress is that. And when they saw the result I came with, and so they began to say, oh, Congress now has changed. And so because of me, most of my siblings, the other cousins, were taken to Congress. Okay. So when they sat, they got good results than me, because they now have somebody that has break forth, and I was helping them with materials and with other resources. Okay. So they got good results. They sat to their was once. Okay. Okay. They are now in IPAM. Okay. I think trying to go to 3rd year. Final year. Right. They're in 3rd year now, trying to go to final year. So I think the family also have their own perceptions about the school I went to. But as a child and as an adolescent, as I grew up, I told you I questioned things. So I never allowed the opinions of others to influence what I am doing.
Okay, so I think we'll take a break there. And brethren, we have been talking to Mr. William Kamara, and he has just expatiated on the journey through his primary and junior and secondary academic struggle. Coming back, we'll try to go deeper and you will know more.
We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold stories. Stories that mean that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV. As we delve proper into these stories, we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery.
Welcome everybody. We have been talking to Mr. William Kamau, who is an entrepreneur, and he has been sharing light to us how his academic background started as a young boy. Now we are going to push further. Mr. Kamau, you told us about your zest to question everything and to your zest also for education. We want to know how was that transported? Was it the same thoughts, ideas you carried onto university days and the world at large? What was your next step after hitting the WAS, getting the 7th credit and 2 passes, as you said? How was it then after? What happened after?
Well, after taking my WAS, I told you about questioning things. Virtually, all what I wanted before the reality shows up never happened. I sat from JSS 3, I sat for Albert Academy.
Okay.
I could not go there for financial constraints. So I went to Congress. The realities prove compared to the society.
Yeah.
So people will say, okay, it's because you don't get the opportunity to go there. No, I was brainwashed. And when I sat to the WAS now, the same thing repeat again. You know, there is this societal system that is around. It takes somebody with a mind full of his own, with a lot of energy, and I don't have enough words to explain it, to break forth. And I end up being at the Great Multimagai.
Okay.
I call it great because it's a school they teach. I went there for my diploma. I didn't go there because I don't have the requirement and to go to any other institutions. I went there also because of the same constraint.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Financial constraints.
financial constraints.
Okay.
So somebody will say, okay, probably if you have been opportune, you wouldn't have been to these places.
Okay.
So it's coincidental. Technically, you might look at it that way, but in reality, it is not a coincidence. I was asked to wait. I said no. One of the things I was so conscious of in my childhood is time. I said no, I will not wait. I will go anywhere to pursue because I have my goals. So okay, at so age, I wanted to do this. At so age, I wanted to do this.
Okay.
So I never wanted time to beat me up before the thing happened.
Okay.
So
you went to Multimagai.
Yeah.
All right.
2007, 2009, diploma. I was successfully out with credit at the NCTVA.
Okay.
And I went on with HND again.
Okay.
For outside world, they consider it to be an equivalent to degree.
Okay.
But the societal systems in Sierra Leone, they look at it, oh, it's just a diploma. And I prove all these things I am telling you because it was that HND I used to do my master's with, an international master's.
Okay.
From there, I went to IAMTech, now called UNIMTech. And I was doing my BSc at IAMTech. 3rd year to final year, I enrolled for my master's with the HND. You know, I was doing 2 things at the same time. I was doing my master's and at the same time doing the BSc. It's just to follow protocols because I've educated myself at Multimagai and the personal responsibilities. I come back to responsibility.
Okay.
I knew I was responsible for anything that happens to me. Imagine at that time my mom is dead, but then I knew if it has to happen, it is left with me. If it's going to happen, it is me. That questioning spirit helps me a lot because I found myself in places wherein people try to make me feel like, oh, you can't make it. Oh, you are this. Oh, you're that. And I was looking at them, firstly, why are they making me feel like this? What is better in you that has proved that what you're trying to tell me is the right thing? I noticed that it's just a societal bad system. The societal effect. This is how people want you. You know, there are people, when you be around them, they will want to make you feel like you're not important. That thing has never worked on me. I believe in myself. I know I'm important. I know you are just a human being like me. I can do anything that somebody has done. If people have been great, I'm not an exception.
Okay.
And what I did is curiosity to know, questioning. For example, we have traditions based on societal system, based on ethnic groups. People try to recruit people into their systems without explaining to you why they are recruiting you. So I was so adamant in conforming to societal systems if I have no clue as to why these things are happening. So that gave me a tough time with so many people around me. Oh, you think you're this, you think you're that. You're a black man, you're this, you're that.
So let's hold it there. Let us change the narrative from your academic part. Let's try to see how the entrepreneurship journey started. Now, I want to believe that, I want to ask my first question is, how did you make your first million? Now, we have all understood that you came from, we normally civilize them and call it humble background.
Yeah.
So, you came from an humble background and you struggled through your path of academia.
Very hard.
To get your degrees, to get your diplomas, to get your becquet and your WARS and all because of financial constraint. And you didn't attend to the schools and the institutions you preferred at those days because of the financial constraint. So how did you transported that into becoming who you are? How did that journey started? Did you start finding a job? Did you start working? Or you just started and say, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur, so I need to... What was exactly, how did it started?
Well, to be precise, Daniel, there is something I believe in. I believe in humanity.
Okay.
And that quest came in since I was a child. I told you, I started teaching from primary school. And as I was teaching, I realized that people will not want to take it freely, continuously. So they began to appreciate me for the effort I was doing.
So they were not paying you per se, but they were appreciating
me.
Okay.
And I came up with the same mentality that if I do something, something will happen positively to me. Sometimes people put money first. What they think is money, that will be another section for us. So I served freely and I see things coming positively to me. All the people I was teaching, and most of them, I didn't take money from them. Some brought in other people for me.
That started paying you?
Yeah, that started paying me. So I could say it's about service to humanity.
Okay.
When you serve people, they will be left with no choice. They will try to compensate you. It is a human tendency. It is just natural. When people do a favor to you, psychologically you'll be compelled to pay them back in return. So I discovered that thing at an early age, and it helped me to be serving. Serving.
Okay, so I would say your first service was teaching people.
Yeah.
So okay, what next you did? What next venture you did after teaching people? I know at a point in time, you, as you said, you thought of doing things that will bring back to you.
And in that teaching, I developed a reputation of trust, and it led for Pastor Sheikh, a mentor to me, and he looked at me because of what he was seeing. He believed in me, and he entrusted the responsibility of starting a school, Flaming Nursery and Preparatory School at Wellington. We started it from scratch, and I was there 1 year plus. I was still teaching, making money in the teaching. I was a private teacher, not a school teacher. And from there, 2 years later teaching, I went to the bank. Somebody from the church, a lady by the name of Amina Tadabo, she was a friend of mine. I told you I believe in humanity. So I believe in giving freely.
Okay.
And she looked at me and said, William, why are you not working? Why are you still teaching? I said, I wanted to finish my HND before I started finding job because I was doing well with my teaching. I was having what I needed at that time to take care of myself.
Okay.
But I was having goals. My goals played a great role into what I am doing today. I was not just teaching because I don't have something to do.
Okay.
I have a goal and I had goals. At one time, I showed some of my colleagues around that were doubting, asking me, how did William get to this point? The same question he asked. And I showed them my goals. Way back, 10 years back, I wrote these goals and I prayed to God. One thing I believe, when you ask for good things, God is always there to help you. So I wrote my goals. I put time, because when people write goals, they don't time them. Yeah. They just write, oh, I wanted to be a millionaire. That is not a goal. That is just a wish. You write your goals, you time the goals, and you ask yourself, what am I going to give in return to get this thing I want? It was that questioning thing that gave me the courage to do what I did to get me to this point. What are some of these things? I went to the bank. 2012.
What was the first bank you worked in?
Guarantee Trust Bank,
okay.
GT Bank.
Okay.
I went there. I was doing my best, giving all, serving clients faithfully. And from there, I noticed that when you work in the bank, you have an encounter with a lot of people on a daily basis. And I told you I believe in humanity. So I started giving extreme professional services to them, because there are people, when they have jobs, they will only do as they feel, unless they were extremely supervised before they give their best. So I started doing
your best,
regardless of supervision. Regardless of supervision.
Because of your love for humanity.
Yeah, because of my love for humanity. So most of the clients are from reputable institutions.
Okay.
And I noticed that if you give your best in a public office, it will be very easy for you to accelerate in success. And I was saving enough of my salary. Okay. In fact, I don't even use my salary. So I save my salary, and the little tokens I was having from clients, I save also. And I live the life I supposed to live. I refuse to live the life of a banker as supposed by society.
Okay.
So at one time, a friend of mine were having a particular client that was coming with buns cake, these cakes that we buy outside, 500 for one. And the guy will put three or four, and he was selling it at 5,000. Wow. So the first time he came in, he was dropping the things. He thought I was part of the system. And so he dropped. As
in the system of the banking class.
Yeah, of the banking class. I don't
the society. That the society have already created. Okay.
Yeah, bankers are this. They are expecting them to live this kind of life. And I refuse to that societal system. And the guy dropped the bounce cake, and I took it. He came for the money. I gave him 2,000 because it was 4. Yeah, it was 4. I knew it's 500 outside. And the guy said, no, it's 5,000. I said, why? He said 5,000. And my colleague are saying, you have to pay. You're making as if you are deprived. This is small money. Then I realized that people don't have value or respect for small money. It is this small money that you accumulate to build wealth. Yeah. I said, okay, in my mind, this is going to be the last and the first. I will never do that again. The next time he came, I asked him, don't drop anymore. When I want that cake, I will go out and get it. Imagine if you save 3,000 leones in 5 working days, multiply it by the number of working days in the year. How much is that? And that is just an example. There are other things that people were bringing in the office that they were taking. It's kind of psychological tips because they knew people tend to live lives beyond their means, beyond their reach. And I refused to dance to that tune.
Okay.
If people were watching this and some of my colleagues will tell you, oh yeah, he was like that. Okay. And I left there. I left
Guaranteed Trust Bank?
Yeah, I left Guaranteed Trust Bank.
How long did you work there?
1 year, some months.
Okay, so you went to...
Yeah, I went to Access Bank.
Okay.
When I went to Access Bank, it's a culture. The same thing is there. Bank is a bank. The same lifestyle. And I refused to succumb to the system. I dress normal. I don't put on expensive things. All I was focusing on, my goals. I have goals. Why should I live a life to please people?
So basically your goals were merging you into they were controlling what you should do and what you should not do.
Exactly. My goals were dictating my life because society has nothing to do with my goals. So what they want to see is result. So this is what people should understand. The same society you're trying to prove, you're trying to satisfy, don't actually care about what you're doing. What they care about is result. If they say you cannot make it, and when you make it, they will come and celebrate you. So that should tell you that they don't really care about what you're doing.
So you said you went to Access Bank?
Access Bank, yeah. That is the second bank I worked. I worked there for 3 years.
Okay.
By then, I was in a little businesses. I told you I believe in people. Some of these clients that we met at the offices, we talk. I interviewed them. And I used most of them to build myself around. And to be precise, if you serve people genuinely, they will have no choice in return, but they want to render the same favor to you. So most of the things that people were thinking, oh, this is going to cost money, it never cost me money.
All right, so you said that you worked at Guaranteed Trust Bank and you worked at Access Bank, and you were doing small business because of the way you related with people. So at that particular point, you already had a goal. What was the goal that you were trying to reach at that very moment in your path to being an entrepreneur?
When I was at GT Bank, because before I went to the bank, I had my goals already. When I was at GT Bank, one day I was thinking, how could I meet this goal at this short time I placed? Sorry. And I could not withstand the quest to achieve my goal. I went to the internet and searched how to get rich. I saw a lot of answers, numerous answers. And some of them were illegal. Some of them were legal. Some of them were completely out of my faith. So I picked the good ones. I screened the good ones and I looked at what's supposed to be done, and I have some of those qualities already. So I developed them quickly. So having developed them, I used my tradition. I call it tradition because my mom and I used to do business since I was a child. All right. I used to sell for my mom. Anything she prepares, I will sell. And when I got hold of anything she prepared, I noticed it will sell at a faster rate. So I noticed I have influence in humanity. People like most of the things I do. So I said, oh, we were doing this with my mom, and I should just modify this and develop it in a professional way. And I started going into partnership with some people because by then I was working. So I could not leave the office to come by then.
And do the business alone.
So
you had to do partnership with people.
I started partnershiping with people and I was having commission. I was also working.
So it was doubling the cash.
It was doubling the cash.
And all you were doing, you were saving because of the
saving. I had a goal.
I
had a goal. And that goal gave birth to what I am today. I have goals. As I told you, I time my goals. If, for example, I want 1 billion leons, which is equivalent to $100,000 now, I will put a time that I want the money. And I will divide the money by the time. For example, if you want 1.2 billion, in 12 months, you know, each month you have to raise 100 million. I'm just making an example.
Okay.
And this is the 100 million. In 30 days you should raise. The question is, how are you going to get this 100 million? I know I cannot steal. I cannot cheat people. I cannot do any wrong thing. I have to think of offering something that people will pay for. Or continue to expand my networks and get more income. I'm just making a scenario. When you have these things, your mind will be shaped. What is happening around you will not influence you. Societies, anything you can think of that you think is limiting people will not affect you because you have a goal.
You have a goal, you know where you're
and
going.
you time the goal. Timing is very important in goal setting.
All right, so when you were at Access Bank, you said you took 3 years.
Yeah.
So what happened after? You went to another bank, or that was the breakthrough finally?
No, when I didn't go to any other bank after Access Bank.
Okay.
I was there doing my masters.
Okay.
I was doing my online masters.
Okay.
At the same time, I was in business. As I told you, the way I live my life, nobody will think of, oh, this guy can do this. If you see me, you will underrate me by looks. Until you come closer and you try to...
because you are defying societal norm by the standard they want you to
defying societal norms, the banking styles, the fake life. I deviated from it. And I was so simple. The shirt I was putting on, you can get it at 3,000, 4,000. The goal is you should be decent. You should be clean in facing people. So that is what I'm supposed to do. I should not put on expensive... In fact, nobody will notice if you put on expensive things.
Yeah.
So why are you doing it? Who do you want to impress? People that doesn't even care about what you look like. Why should I do that? So partnership grew up.
So you are still in the bank and you're doing the business?
In the banking, in the business.
Okay.
I was having good people around me.
Okay.
It is good to have
and all
good
these people you met them through the banking system?
Through the banking system.
Because you are diligent.
I was diligent, and some of them, my relatives recommend, so since you want to do this, can't you contact this person? Okay. I said, okay, I will contact this person. So it's about humanity and networking with humanity, and always have something to give. I noticed that when I give service to people, a part of the professional service, I give them business advice because I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books. I do research. I'm a curious person to know. Okay. I read a lot of things, and when I see people in need, I will offer free service, free help, and I will not ask for anything. And these people in turn will tend to give back something to me. So it was these techniques I used to go, and I started.
How did you leave? How did you leave the bank?
I left the bank because, first of all, I got tired with the job. Okay. And I don't want to be ineffective in a job, and I wanted to focus on the business and grow it now. So I left the bank. My MD was like, Oga, did you think well before you leave? I said, yes, Oga. He didn't want me to go out of the system. So I had to show him my acceptance letter for my master's. Okay. And he said, okay. Right. I said, the timetable is clashing with the job. So I have to leave. If I finish, probably I will come back. But he knew I wasn't going back. So he said, okay, you will not come back. And when I left, most of the people were talking because I never explained anything to anyone. People do not have the time to come and ask me, William, how did you get to this point? They only saw the maximum part of my life. They only saw the good part of my life, the bigger picture. I was a conservative person. I'm still conservative. Okay. So they were saying all sorts of things. In my community, some were saying, he's a cultist. Some were saying, is this? Some were saying, is that? Because societies don't have time to question when you are suffering. They only question when things are going well. So people should think, why are you killing yourself trying to meet the expectations of societies in a negative way? Why should people do that?
So this is already going deep. I want to know, when you met your MD and you told him that you're going to resign, what exactly was the goal that you are going to start doing?
At that time, my business is already in operation. Okay. I told you, I believe in people. I leverage. You know, this mentality of I wanted to do it all by myself will kill people. We are human beings. We are interdependent. We are like spider web. We are wrapped up in one another's success. So I believe in these theories so much because I have proved them. It worked. I read about a lot of people. One thing, Daniel, if you want to be great, find out about people that have been great, how they get there. Don't get excited about the successful part of their life. Try to see the struggles that they overcame that pushed them to the peak
To become
they are. That is what I was doing. I read a lot about people that are successful. I wanted to know, how did they get there? One of the people I read about initially was Bill Gates and Dangote and some of these guys, Jeff Bezos and some I cannot name. What I noticed was the age impressed me so much. At their very tender age, they started doing tremendous things. So I asked myself, am I an exception to this? If these people can do this, I can do the same thing. Nothing is hard for a man that is determined. Because the things you think they are hard, people have done them. That is why I tell people there is no future. The future is now. It is just unevenly distributed. What do I mean? Whatever you want to be, somebody has already been. So it is your responsibility now to study how these people get there and copy the good lessons. The reason why you should get the stories of successful people is not to say, okay, they have money. Because they have money, I want to get money. Let me see the money part. No. I looked at the stories because I wanted to know how they overcame the failures. Failure is very important to understand. If you don't understand failure, failure will kill you. So I noticed that when they failed, they said it was an experiment. And it taught them that this is not how to do this.
All right, so I will ask you a question with regards to what you just said. So what was the societal norm at that very moment? When you left the job, and you are trying to pursue your entrepreneurship life, when you left the job, what the society, you already mentioned some of the few things, because in our culture, when you become wealthy, when you start showing the result, let me use that word. When you start showing the result of the things that you have been developing since you were young and up to where you are, they start giving you names. They will start telling you that this is don't go do people, this is a cultist, this is a this and that. How did you manage those comments, those things around you? And second question, what were your challenges? Did you when you were leaving the bank, were you afraid that I might fail? Were you afraid that would this work?
These are obvious questions. Let me start with the first one. How I managed to overcome. And I'm still fighting them. And I'm overcoming them, the societal. You know, there is a system in Sierra Leone that society, a societal system says, if you are young, you should not be successful. That is why I motivate young people. Young people, your age has nothing to do with what you can do. If people become successful at a tender age in other countries, are we an exception?
Wow.
Why is society limiting and killing potentials by telling them that don't rush? It's not about to rush. If you know how to do it fast by working and giving results and the reward comes, why should you wait? If Bill Gates was waiting at the age of 13, he wrote his first program, Tic-Tac, he wouldn't have been a successful man. So me reading these stories, one thing I noticed, people don't like to read. People don't like to know good things. So it's a bad culture. What they are interested in is result. They forget the process. I overcame these challenges by first of all understanding human nature. You know, people that read psychology, they have a great advantage to succeed in life. Because the first principle of success is to understand human beings. Everything about business or success in life is about human being. You deal with people, you sell to people, you buy from people. If you don't understand people, you will never be successful. So I understood from the point they are coming from. If they don't want me to do what I am doing, and they wanted to do what I am doing, because they are not able to do what I am doing, that is the reason they are getting frustrated, and the only way they could leash out is to say bad things. People get relief when they say bad things about people. It's like they are giving off their pains.
So you understanding that by then?
I understood that.
I
just looked at them and said, oh, they are humans. Anybody could do that.
So what about the next question? Did you have any fear leaving your job to start something that you didn't see the future? You are just, I don't know.
Failure, F-A-I-L, fail, first attempt in learning. And fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real.
Wow.
So I understood these things. I told you I read a lot. And when you read, you enlighten your mind. You know, let me tell you this thing. You cannot grow beyond your mental capacity. You can only grow in proportionate to your mental capacity, except you commit fraud. But if you want to grow and become successful genuinely, it has to be with your mental.
Yeah.
Your revenue can only grow to the extent you do grow your mind. They cannot pay you additionally in an office wherein they set a criteria that you have to have this qualification. The only way to get the income is to get the qualification. Technically, you're growing your mind. When your mind grows bigger, you'll be successful. Sorry. But the society cares less about how to get things. They care about the things. So you see what is happening. There is a complete opposite of and the success and failure, realities and society. Daniel, people say, it is our culture, it is our tradition. We have to do it. Why should I do it? And you've been doing it. What is your result?
Your result so far?
What has this thing you are prompting me to do getting you to? What does it make you achieve? No answers. And interestingly, they will tell you, this is what I met. Okay, if you meet it in your parents' life or in your society, one thing you should know, things are in this fold. If you do this, is it a sin? Is it a crime? If you don't do this, is it a sin? Is it a crime? These are the things you should understand.
Okay.
So if it is not a crime, it is not a sin. You should think as a human being that what is the benefit of me doing these things?
All right. So
there is nothing for something.
Let me just call you there. I just want to ask you this final question. What are your failures so far?
I have failed a lot.
Fail.
Yeah.
So you already have this definition of failure,
failure.
in your mind. So failures are not actually failures to you, as it is to the normal man. It is just an experiment.
An experiment of telling me this is not the way to do it.
All right. So you can do it somewhere.
I can do it somehow.
All right.
In another way.
So in few words, how can you define entrepreneurship?
There is no universal definition of entrepreneurship. Yeah. To me, it is creativity plus innovation plus commercialization. What do I mean?
Creativity
plus innovation plus commercialization.
All right.
When you are creative and innovative, the question is, are people willing to pay for this innovation? If yes, then you'll be successful. You commercialize it and you become an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Okay. All right. This is great because we have a lot of young people now. A lot of young people I know are craving to be entrepreneurs, and I don't know. I just want you to look at camera. Maybe just have a few advices for young people that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. What would you say to them? What would you tell them right now?
The first rule of the game: entrepreneurship is a game, and the secret to any game is to understand the rules. I am not a soccer fan because I don't know how to play football. So if I wanted to jump into football, I don't understand the rules of football, I will end up having a red card. And that red card is what discourages or disqualifies people from pursuing entrepreneurship. So they refuse to learn the fundamentals. One thing, principles never change. Concepts change. Realities change. And it is from realities that people develop principles. So people that want to go in for entrepreneurship, first of all, learn the rules of the game. If you don't learn the rules of the game, what do I mean? Try to read good books on entrepreneurship. understand money, which is very important. People don't understand what money is. They think money is a paper. Money is not a paper. Money is an abstract and absolutely abstract concept. The paper there is just a theory. It's a tool people use to exchange the realities of what people actually need. For example, if I want money, what should I do to get this money? The money I'm referring to is what people generally understood by money. Because I heard people say, because I don't have capital, that is why I don't do this business. I wanted to do business, I don't have money. You don't need cash actually to start up a business. You need yourself. If I give you the money, what will you do? What business will you do? If you have the capital, what are you going to do with it? If you tell me you're going to do A business, what do you know about A business? If you're going to do X business, what do you know about X business? Secondly, should the X business industry collapse, will you survive it? So it tells me that money is never a problem for entrepreneurs. The problem is they fail to understand the principles, the rules of the game. If you know the rules of the game, you will play the game very well.
Wow.
That is it.
All right. Thank you very much. I think this is a wonderful advice to young entrepreneurs, young people out there. I believe if they heed to search, they will not eventually become like you, but they will eventually become like themselves in success in their
They will be more greater than me.
Simple. So I want to ask two short questions. First of all, what is your best all-time book?
Best of time?
Best all-time book. I know you've read a lot of books, as you said.
I have many best time books.
But I believe there is a particular one that might have been so great that has impacted your life so much.
Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
So you'd say it's your best all-time book?
It's one of my best. I have best books.
Okay. So I will ask you the second question. We learned few days from one of our interviewers, Mr. Augustine Bonner, President. He differentiated mentor and role model. So I want to ask you, who is your mentor, if there is one?
In business.
Okay, so you are saying that there are segments of mentors. Okay. So in your life as a person, there's a mentor in what you do, there's a mentor in another angle. So in business,
perfectly correct.
Who is your mentor?
In business, I have many mentors. They are not even in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Somebody will say, hey, how can you say your mentors are not in Sierra Leone? Yes, they are not in Sierra Leone. They are outside the country. They are overseas. Some are in Africa. How do I reach them? I follow them. I read their books.
Watch their interviews.
Yeah, if I could not, there are interviews like what you are just doing. I follow their advices they are giving. Because in Sierra Leone, what I noticed is people don't like teaching people, especially when it comes to success. They are afraid. If I teach him or if I teach her, he or she will become more successful than me. That is bullshit.
All right, so final question. What do you do for young people? How impactful have you become for young people?
I have always been a fan of humanity. I've always been a fan of motivating young people because young people usually stock up after school, after graduation. And that is the most painful part of our system. When people get out of college, when they graduate, they stock up. They don't even know what else to do. Somebody will say, okay, it's because you started with a job. No, I started with myself, not with a job.
About teaching.
Yeah,
you improved yourself
initially. Yeah. I invested in myself. How? Knowledge, reading, learning things. What will cost you 10 years could be paid for in one page of a book. So if you don't know, like in Rich Dad Poor Dad, those boys, when they read the book and one of the boys, Kiyosaki's father was a teacher, a PhD holder. He's poor. And his friend, is it Mike? Yeah. his father was not that educated
Yeah.
as society will class people to be educated. So Mike's father is a businessman. And Kiyosaki wanted to know how Mike's father got rich. And because he wanted to live like the son of a rich dad. So he and Mike went to Mike's father. And they were reading books. And they discovered that if they melt copper, it will transform to something else. Had it not been illegal for people to mint their own money, they would have been rich.
Of course.
In their teens. Imagine that. They were 9 to 10. They were reading and they discovered that this paste waste, when you use paste, the container that contains the paste or the tin, they discovered that if you melt it, it will turn to copper and you will get money. And by that time, there was silver money. They melted it. So automatically the boys went on, the neighbors collecting this waste of paste, and they collected it. Their parents were asking, what are you doing with this thing? They said, just hold on, wait. So they melted it and the thing became copper. And they said, we've got money. Their parents said, oh, like Mike's father said, no, this is the legal way to get money. The boys did well. The parents appreciated them for the effort they took. How did they discover that? It was through books.
Yeah.
There is a lot of mysteries in books. I gave you this short thing for you to understand that when you read, like the motto of Congress says, knowledge is light. When you have light, you can go far. So that's one of the key lessons I learned from that book.
Reading is a culture that is needed to be embraced.
And it is not in Sierra Leone.
It is it is missing.
It is missing in Sierra Leone. So people think getting success is a magic. If you don't learn the rules, you will never become good at the game you're playing. Despite the money. If you know the rules, people with money, you will get the money from them.
Of course.
When Zuckerberg got an idea, people invested in the idea. When Bill Gates got the idea, people invested in the idea. When Jeff Bezos got the idea, people invested in the idea. Thomas Edison does not invent electric bulb, but he made an improvement for the electric bulb to last longer. He tried about, I think, 99 times. He failed, but he kept on going. So he succeeded. So if things like this have been happening and you knew about it, it will be a stepping stone to whatever thing you can do. If you have an idea, there are people with a lot of cash out there. They want to do something. They don't even know what to do. If you have the ideas, they know. You have a good business plan. People don't even know how to write a good business plan.
Of course.
You see the problems?
Lack of knowledge.
Yeah, the thing is mental structure. That is why I will conclude this by saying that drives me to the urge to write my first book. I titled Linking the Invisible and the Visible to Get Rich. Because this is the missing link. The invisible is not capacitated to hold on to what people want. And when the thing comes by accident or gamble or whatever way or means you play Mercury, International or Lotto or whatever thing you do, or you inherited fortunes, that fortune will go to the people that have the knowledge. That is the secret.
Wow.
If you don't believe it, do your research. Families have got riches, and when they died, the beneficiaries that are not schooled, mentally structured enough, lose the wealth to those that are well structured.
So this is so deep. I believe we will not be able to get all we want for today. So we are actually going to get Mr. William Kamara for another episode, so as to unleash some of these ideas, because I believe one of the greatest need for most young people now, if you ask everybody, they want money, they want money, they want money. So we have people in our country who have tried, as he has, to become an entrepreneur and learned a lot of lessons. And one of the key that he mentioned is that we need to start the culture of reading. And I believe that this interview has been a blessing. As I said, he will be called upon for another episode, and we believe that a lot of people will be impacted through this episode. Before we go down to the cutting board, I just want us to know that you needed to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Reality Lab TV, and also to our Facebook page. You can like and also follow us. This is Reality Lab TV, Untold Stories, and this is episode 3. I am your favorite host.
We live in a world where all the things we face are of no news. That is to say, there is nothing new you're going through that someone hasn't gone through before, which means all our circumstances are answerable. So we ask, is there something bothering you that you need answers to? Situations you think you can be removed from? No sober motivations to get you started? This is why we bring you Untold Stories. Stories of men that have been hidden all this while. Together with our guests, we wish to let out the stories we know are similar to yours and showing ways they can be overcome. Log in to Facebook and YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. on Reality Lab TV as we delve proper into these stories we are certain can spur you up to full actualization. Discover yourself now. Reality Lab TV, your journey to self-discovery.